We set the trend in the script.
Absolutely. You are, you have been, you will be under the groove.
Snip this glue, get in the zone, because we got to go do something. So that's what we did. And I'm going to be honest with you, I used to like it. You got people from the east and the west and different places, to come over and groove with us.
Was Hoover Groovers a part of Hoover? Never met a Hoover Groover.
Never met.
Me and you was never in my life. But
A part of what was called the Bonzella Crips.
Hoover Groovers ain't started no Hoover Crips. And we hit that hand moving on you, walking in your house.
Wait, do that again.
Hit that hand moving on you, that messed up your whole party. You are, you have been, you will be under the groove. Trade Foes, 7-11, the Deuce, and the 9. Hoover Hey to the coach enthusiasts, the Hoover Knights, the Hoover Collective, and to the people. Here we go, people. Hoover's finest is on the stage. That is the generation after the founders, day ones, and OGs is in the house. Look, man, as stated, this segment of the Hoover saga represents that generation that put the Hoover stump down, that brought the trends to South Central that most everyone grooves today. Don't get it wrong, people. This is not gang banging. This format represents to the people how our generation came up. And as a result, how we came to be, who we are now, and how life has altered our perspective views today. Under the groove, in this episode, we have Lil Dev, man, SFACG, gracing the platform. It's an honor, bro. Just to let the motherfuckers know, man, who you is, man. This my dude, man. Look, we got him here, man. So look, people, when we speak about sandbox, and most people, when they speak about sandbox, people, they on some more shit. We got different terminology, man. True. That's one thing. But with this brother here, we're talking about eating dirt rocks and shit. Yeah. And back in the day, we talk about back in the day shit, man. Since knee high to a grasshopper. Under the Groove is privileged, though, man, to have you here, and others who are following your steps, man, sharing their and your story. You come a long way, bro. Peace. You know what I'm saying? I just want you to know, man, I recognize that, I know you struggle, man. I know what you've been through, man. So go and let the people know what it is, man, who you are, man. Break it down for them before we get chopping this shit up.
Well, it's like this. A lot of people know me out there about my government. We're not going to say it. If you looking, you know exactly who I am. It's like this. But Lil Devil, Mr. SFH, and it's a pleasure to be on this platform because in the over 40 years that I've been doing this, we have come to positive measures. We're doing a lot of things differently now, but where I come from is a whole different story. Like Bub just said, we not sandbox dudes. We ate dirt. We ate dirt, literally ate dirt growing up. Yeah. That's the way we grew up. We grew up in poor environments and all that same way a lot of you cats have. But, we made it a lot possible for our children to grow up a lot better. So you dudes ain't got no excuse for what y'all out there doing. And that's the bottom line. I came off the porch 74, 75.
Hold on. You ahead of the gun, boy.
Okay, because I know.
I already know you fired up. Look, we same age group.
Correct.
Where'd you go to school? Elementary.
Oh, elementary. Manchester Elementary, Laura Miller Elementary. The only two elementaries I went to. Ever. I got, in the bad part about it, I got kicked out of elementary. You had to go to another elementary, 95th Street School, excuse me. I got kicked out of Laura Miller and ended up going to 95th Street School. That's when we moved down there on 94th.
Yeah.
And moved down there, I think I went to school down there for a half a year in the 5th grade, got kicked out, and went back to Laura Miller and graduated from Laura Miller.
During elementary, during those times, man, what are some of your memories, man? You know, that I think for a lot of people, viewers, when they watch the show, you know, a lot of them expect a certain dialogue, man. You know what I mean? A certain mindset. They want you know what they want.
Well,
you know? What did you go through as a kid? And not only what you went through, but what did you learn? Who did you know along the way, man? What was that like for you?
Well, for me growing up, it was a little different because where I grew and when I grew up, my family was Hoover, period.
Yeah.
You know, I had mom and all them and everything was cool, but them streets, man, when they call you, there's no getting around that.
Wait a minute. Let's say 3rd grade.
3rd grade, I was still there at the house.
Yeah.
You know, because see, we lived on 75th. We had a house on 83rd. We moved back to 75th. We moved to 95th. We moved back to 75th. We lived on 75th like 3 or 4 times. So the 70s always called us. And then my pops, when I was like 3, 4 years old, my pops lived on 77th and Hoover in the duplexes.
Yeah.
So me and bro was, if we went with mom,
that duplex right where the gas station used to be.
Across from Joe and them.
Okay,
got Happy Shop.
The fish shop. Yeah. The auto body shop. Yeah.
But yeah. You know, we you know, who has been a part of our life for a long time, more than most dudes that grew up in the fame. You know, and it's a trip because when you grow up with cats like you know, Sir K9, Big Weedy,
yeah,
you know, some of our other dudes,
yeah.
you know, Mario Tucker, some of our real dudes, you know, you grew up learning a certain loyalty and respect for each other, camaraderie.
How did that start? How did that evolve? You know what I'm saying? Because it just didn't happen.
No, that happened.
You know what I mean?
That happened.
Was that running up the alleys together, skateboards, dirt bikes?
No.
How did that evolve?
No.
How did that relationship come to be?
For us, in my age group, we went from stealing dirt bikes to mini bikes to cars.
Yeah.
And we learned how to drive cars by stealing them. Now, and this is all before we got out of elementary. That's the bad part about it. So, getting out of elementary, going to junior high school, you know, we saw a different side of what we thought was gangbanging. Like I say, 74, 75, that was way back, bro.
Yeah.
You know, so to see the side to where it's okay, well, now we're not in where we're playing dodgeball and all this other little shit. We ditching and stealing bikes or whatever we doing, stealing the G and all that. We weren't seeing that. We got in junior high school, motherfuckers was banging. You know, that was older than us. We 7th grade scrubs, what they used to call. You remember 7th grade scrub? We were scrubs. You know, we come up junior high. Come up in there and you know, we got some older homies that's there, that's well known. You know.
And I don't mean to cut you off, but I kind of think you jumping the gun, and I want to take you back to when it started for you as a kid.
It started for me coming off the porch, bro.
Okay, and that involved what and who? What was y'all hitting, raiding fruit trees?
No, we was,
you know what I mean? What
we hit bird cages.
You know what I mean?
We pigeon freaks. We used to hit bird cages from the east side, wherever we was going. We was hitting bird cages. 3rd grade,
4th grade?
No, like 4th, 5th grade.
All right.
My boy, one of my boys, my boy Weedy.
Yeah. Okay. Now
we was in cages. That dude had me with him and a couple more. He had a crew. He was a part of the crew. You know, we was in cages, and we grew from cages to riding all the way to Venice Beach, coming back on mongooses.
Mongooses.
You know, we just
USC and all that shit.
We was just doing what we was doing, a part of it.
All right.
The loyalty, see, to me, and it's still to this day, it disrupts my way of thinking in many lifetimes with my wife, my family, certain dudes, whatever, because the loyalty in which I have for a lot of them dudes, you know, you one of them, you know, certain dudes. We grew up, man, to whereas a lot of us is not here.
Yeah.
They didn't make it.
Yeah, they made it.
And we still here. And I'm talking about the way we grew up at such a young age, knowing each other. It's not like we met in the 10th grade.
Right.
You know, I'm talking about we met as kids.
As kids, yeah.
You know, real little kids.
And that's what that's why I'm getting at you in terms of, you know what I'm saying, how it started, how you started out. 3rd grade, 4th grade, if you can recall.
I can recall.
Just for instance, coming off the Porch your first street fight, who was with, you know what I'm saying, as a kid. We're not talking about junior high and none of that first. Not yet. First, how you came off the porch, man. What brought you off the front porch? What was it?
My boy Weedy. My boy Weedy.
How old was you? See, I don't know. I tend to think when you had to be Weedy, what, 4th,
when
5th
I met
grade?
Weedy, I was in the 5th grade, 4th grade, going to the 5th grade. And
that's Lauren Miller then.
And Lauren Miller. I had knew his little brother, Dennis. I knew Dennis.
We grew up with him, yeah.
And, you know, I met Weedy, and I was just amazed by his get-out. The nigga get-out he was a fool.
At a young age.
At a young age. He was a straight gangster, and he was young like us.
Mm-hmm.
Weedy wasn't that much older than us, bro.
Yeah. A year.
But a year, maybe a year or two.
Yeah.
But he was a straight thug when overalls and penalties and all this at this age. And I flocked to him. And then
let me hear. Weedy come from a big family though.
Yeah, but see, I was going to say, then the next one was Big Tim. Was Black Boy.
But what made Weedy how Weedy was?
Because he had a huge ass family. It was about 30 of the motherfuckers, but actually it was only about 6 of them. But you were thinking about 30 of them.
It was a whole game.
Yeah, the family was well known.
He was feared, not just well known, but feared. Them motherfuckers was crazy.
So for him to gravitate to simple-minded dudes like me at the time, you know, and have motherfuckers out there with him and, you know, learning shit through him and how to raise. I ain't know nothing about no damn pigeons.
Right.
You know, and how to put a bike together and just like that.
Now.
Yeah. You know, we were show biking and all this
pigeons, dirt bikes,
and pit bulls,
mini bikes, dogs, and show bikes.
All came from that era,
all that.
bro. All that came from that era. Yeah. It just, the pigeons stuck. Because I still want to raise birds to this day, but I just don't have the place to put them.
I'm gonna tell you something. You shouldn't raise pigeons though, homie. Cause back then you had some ducks, homie.
Ain't that a bitch? Ain't that a bitch? And look who's talking. Look who's talking. You had a bird cage. You had a bird cage with some fantails.
Yeah, I did.
Talk to me.
We hit Gilbert's cage. Gilbert had all them showbirds. And it come to find out these they don't do no rolling,
fantails, feathers,
nothing.
Just pretty birds.
But you had some duck. Your shit was commie shit.
Just pretty birds.
What we call pop and glide. That's what the fuck.
Well, no, I used to have something to do.
All right, I'm fucking with you.
They pop and do threes. And
no, I don't remember. Your bird wasn't all day.
Come on, bro.
We didn't even hit your cave. Your cave was probably the only cave that get hit, bro.
Yeah, that might be true. That might be true.
But I knew you raised birds, though, man. Yeah. We fucked with you, man. It
was during the era of that, bro. It was a fun time for me.
Yeah,
because I was young, and when I say young, I was young.
Yeah,
and growing up in atmosphere, in a I ain't gonna say that. I'm gonna say in a part of South Central Los Angeles that was, hey man, we loved each other. And
it was predominantly black at the time.
And our families loved each other because your mama whooped my ass a couple of times.
My mama whooped everybody ass. My grandmama kicked his shack door.
Real talk. So, real talk. Your mama whooped my ass a couple of times. So, I mean,
but that was a different era. It was love.
It was all love. And we was young dudes. We had just really came off the porch we was, as the old people say, we were smelling ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, we come off the porch, we was doing what we do, and somehow or another, they had a pipeline that his mama would find out where the fuck we at. And it's going down.
The mamas knew what a shack was.
They knew what everything was.
They knew what a shack was.
You know, but during that time, you know, because see, a lot of homies, we lost our first home. Okay. I'll put it through like this. The first homie we lost.
Hold on. again, the stay behind the 8 ball right now because we're
Oh,
gonna
I'm
get to
behind
that.
8 ball. I'm behind
Okay.
8 ball right now. The first homie that we lost in ours
Yeah,
was Weedy. We did nobody leave before Weedy, bro. Nobody.
K-Mac didn't leave.
No,
before
K-Mac
we-
didn't
he
leave
sure
before.
did.
The only one that left before Weedy was Leo, Big Leo.
Big Leo.
That was it.
Big Sam left after.
Everybody left after Weedy.
Right.
You
Yeah.
see what I'm saying?
I was in camp.
And we lost something that was
That was our
to
guy,
us.
man.
He was our guy. Now you have different dudes growing up, different little how can I say cliques in the land and this and that and other.
Mhm.
But that was our clique. He was ours.
Yeah.
You know, me, him, you,
Yeah.
Crazy J.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Jam.
Matt,
You know, we had
Lil
some,
Dev,
we had some real times.
Yeah.
You know, and then when we lost Weedy, it was like, you know, we had to find our place within the community of Hoover.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Real talk.
Yeah.
Because our place in the community of Hoover was through Weedy.
Yeah. And just let me jump in there. It wasn't just Weedy. Weedy was one of the ones, though. Solid. Your brother also.
Well, Big Dev, yeah.
Come on, bro.
Bro wasn't.
Yeah.
He wasn't letting nothing slide.
Solid cat.
He wasn't letting
He
nothing
is a
slide.
solid
None of
cat.
them,
Yeah.
nothing on nothing. So yeah, you're right. You're right. But see, you know, me and bro, it's like this. You never could get, since he's my brother,
Yeah.
then fuck you. You know, this is the way me and him used to look at it because I was on my own thing, he was on his own thing.
Yeah.
Real talk.
Yeah.
We meet at home, nigga.
Yeah. Real
I
shit.
come to mom's house, I got you. Then we all at the house. He want to come, he got Art and everybody with him. Nigga, y'all gotta go. No, y'all gotta go.
Yeah.
You remember that
We
shit?
was here first.
Yeah, we was here first. You know, real talk. That's the way we grew up.
Let me hit you something. I want to go back to Laura Miller. What do you remember most about Laura Miller? And then I'll apply that to Manchester as well as 95th Street School. But Laura Miller first because it's in our community. What do you remember?
Laura
most
Miller, I
about?
remember.
What's your
most,
fondest memory about that?
my fondest memory about Laura Miller, bro, is how we used to play the kickball and we used to
Tag in the morning,
tag in the morning,
Yeah.
but we used to trick the teachers into believing that we was on the property and we would hit that gate and go to the store and say,
What store? What store? What store? That was one.
Which one?
Remember the Buddha head store right on 78 and Hoover on the corner next to True Gospel Church.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, that was the church.
In the back of the
I got caught stealing that motherfucker.
Yeah.
So we would hit the gate and go to store.
That's what I'm saying.
Real shit.
That's what I remember because
Man,
that's where a lot of people would say, we turned.
what they say, oh, they're going back.
Yeah, they going bad.
Going back.
You know, because everybody in the neighborhood used to see us. You know, we done hit the gate. Everybody think we at school, and we done hit that corner. You know.
Yeah, real spit, bro.
And it's a trip because with Lauren Miller, you know, now, the one thing they can't say about Lauren Miller, and it's definitely untrue, we had teachers.
Yeah.
That taught us.
That fucked with us. That
They
loved us.
made us
It was
learn.
in our shit. Yeah,
They made us learn. To
True
this
that.
day, I appreciate a lot of shit that I learned growing up in elementary because it was fun learning there. It's just that the streets was calling us. It was fun learning in Lauren Miller. And that's real talk, man, because we learned things. We used to go to field trips. I mean,
all that shit.
I mean, motherfuckers, you know, in elementary, you go to Catalina Island to graduate.
I was about to mention
Man,
that.
come on,
I remember
bro.
your ass was sick on the boat, throwing up the whole trip.
They made my mama go with us.
Yeah.
I can't tell right up here. But I'm saying, I got suspended for something. And they made my, if you go, your mama got to go.
Your mama got to go.
And mom's went, but she knew all them. So they made my mama, you take care of them.
Trey folks, 7-11, the Deuce and the 9. You have been, you will be under the bridge.
But we ain't gang banging, this is about education. We trying to educate our youth right now.
Nigga. Hey, said day is the best day to skip walking across the floor in the best way. From Trey to the one way, it's a stump day. LA to the NY, let this funk
You know, back in them days, it was love, loyalty, respect, and honesty,
that's my nigga
man.
Gumby right
Nowadays,
there from
you
the
know,
juice, bitch. That's my
ex-busters,
nigga
hooks, and
Rico,
snitches
turning
put
up
on
the deuce, bitch.
pedestals
That's
and
my nigga
ventilators.
Say lows on that Hoover shit. HIP, Tony Moon, one of the hardest poets I ever heard connected with this star shit. Hey, Baby Jap and Jap 5, quick to set it off on the mic in the shack live.
When the shit get real and feel to the wheel, and then you will see you sitting up in that motherfucker looking at that light sin, that death sin.
Then they run into a witness stand, telling on their own homeboys.
Hoover stomp, all night like this. Hoover stomp,
I know trouble, I know how to start them BS folks coming looking for me.
I'm a New York nigga in the Pacific Sun. I say West Side Hoover if you ask where I'm from. Fathers California runs, infusing my lungs. All about my bread, I ain't leaving.
Understand the end game. What's your end game? What's your purpose?
Keep one in the head or I don't need a gun. I'm with Hawk on Hoover Street with a low ass jump. Hopping down Figueroa with a wholesale and cut. Grooving like this, come second to none. Grooving like Scotty Young, grooving like Booker Bone. I'm bad to the bone.